Welcome back to Fashion and Giants. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hello and welcome back to Fashion and Giants. For my second ever Minisode, I want to talk about my 5 favourite episodes from 2020 from Doctor Who and the Star Wars universe. I hope you enjoy what I have to pick, and please enjoy this little podcast. My first choice, of course, is The Gathering Storm from the book of Boba Fett. I personally love this episode. I think it's well written. I love Sam Ross and Ming Owen's chemistry as always. I just think there's something special about this duo, especially when they talk. I get it. I feel the chemistry. And plus you've got Chrysanthemum being a comedy genius, and you've got the families. It's just all leads to the next episode, because I think this episode just leads to a fantastic episode next. And plus, it's just one of those episodes that I think I've watched over a year that doesn't leave my mind, because I just think it's a beautiful one. Leading to The Return of the Mandalorian, the book of Boba Fett. The next episode after, I just love it so much. And it's just nice to have Pedro Pascal back. I know we shouldn't have had this. We should have had more Boba, which is, I've always said, is probably my big issue. But the episode is just so enjoyable. And I feel for Din when he's kicked out of the convent for removing his helmet. I mean, oh my gosh, he deserves way better than that. But I'm hoping that will give some leverage to Mando 3. Plus, the return of P9 Motto and the little kid making an appearance, who is but P9 Mono and the ship and the droids helps Din's character to them a lot, and that's what makes me enjoy this episode so much. And of course, Fennec appearing in the end, recruiting Mando is just the perfect ending to the show, and that Grogu mention. In the name of honour, the book of Boba Fett. I don't know what to say. I mean, I get the Christmas, but for me, this episode is just full of joy, full of darkness. It's just very climatic, especially when we look at Boba's battle with the Pike Syndicate, and of course the conclusion to Din and Grogu's search to reunite with each other. And the fact they do is one of the most beautiful and emotional moments of the year, in my opinion, because it's just so aesthetically pleasing. And I watch this scene a lot more because it's just brings me joy and happiness. And of course, Crab versus Boba, and Fennec saving the mods, and then defeating all the families and the Pike Captain is just dark, but in the right setup for each of the characters respectively. And plus, Boba saving Chrysanthemum. Oh, that's a beautiful moment. I love Chrysanthemum. I just love it so much. But yeah, it's one of the best finales. And of course, Din and Grogu flying together again. The perfect end. And of course, Boba Fett won with their team. Absolutely amazing. Legend of the Sea Devils, Doctor Who. Now, another episode that is underrated by the fans, and I can see. However, for me, I just love the representation, the aesthetic of the whole story. But what really stands out for me are 2 girls, Jodie Whittaker and Manic Girl, of course. They're just so good, and their performance in this episode is outstanding. It's still probably, along with the final episode I'm going to mention, one of their best, and they are peaking at the right moment. And I've said this before, if you peak way too early, you could easily lose a moment, and that can happen, and I've seen it happen to so many unlucky people. But for Mandarin Joy, that's not happened, and their performance is just quality. And I feel like when I watch their scenes, I just think there's just something moving, and maybe it's because I've just started to get into fashion at that point, but it felt to me like one of the most beautiful moments of the year, and definitely fighting for an emotional moment of the year, with a few scenes from this episode and the next episode I mentioned. But yeah, Legend of the Sea Devils, definitely underrated, and one of my favourite classics of the year. The Power of the Doctor, Doctor Who. Now, I was nervous for this one because of past records, but however, in recent developments of me analysing and this episode, finding this is probably what I like to call the regeneration episode to beat, because I just think it's beautifully done. I would have loved to see a bit more Jodie in Raw, if I'm going to be honest. I do agree with some people on certain aspects, yeah. However, in terms of what she was given, this is definitely like a tough watch, if I'm going to be honest. If you're a Jodie fan, a very tough watch. Ross, I just love complaining about him, and I'll continue to complain about him because Sacha Dhawan was right there. He was so good. I just can't stop complaining about how cold and ruthless the boss was. I'd like, you've done it so sad. And of course, the classic things of, you did not research this before you regenerated, because what I see there is a classic master trait where he doesn't listen well, or secondly, does not research, because that makes it comedy entertainment, but also sad entertainment as well, because it's like, you do feel for him, but in the end you don't, because he's such an absolute monster of what he's done, and that's what's important. So you notice what so is, he just wants to be the top, but because of his negative attitude, he can't, and that's what really makes him bad. Oh my god. But Joy with my girl, once again, I've said at the peak, but my girl peaked right at the end, and I'm glad, because she's been building to all of this, has built to all of this. Like, I know a lot of people have said she's underrated, I said she didn't have, let's say, but I think in terms of when you look at character position, she's very different to everyone else, and that's what makes her stand out in this field. And also, it was just nice to see with the other comments as well, and and to get commented by Ace and Tegan at the end, that was beautiful. And the first scenes were emotional, and I have to say that last scene between them, one of the best scenes of the year, I keep saying, but I just think the performance is there. There's something great, and I just love it. And everything Yaz did was amazing. Jeff Hill and Sophie did legends. William Russell, K-Man, Bannerford, legends. It was just nice to see everyone. And of course, my boy, Brady Walsh. But Joy's performance is still one of those moments where I feel, oh, they're so good. And I'm going to miss her, because she is a talent, and I feel like she's really put down the gauntlet now for the future. But I feel like she will get someone just like her in the future, because she's just made me love her so much, and I'm glad to call her my doctor. Well, that's it for another Minisode. Please comment to me on YouTube or on that person trying to Facebook or Twitter what your favourite episode is, and I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone. Thank you for listening to the podcast. Subscribe to Fasman Jarins and stay tuned for more podcasts. See ya!